not supposed to rain today. It's supposed to be just cloudy. And then tomorrow, a ½ inch of rain. Next day, an inch of rain. Next day, an inch of rain. And then it's supposed to just keep raining and raining. So I want to do something outside today. This is a bunch of little trees that we cut down to expand the boat hole. I'll show you. That's the boat and the hole for the boat. For reference, that's the house and the road going down to the garden and the berry patch. So I've got a Hugelkultur going for my berry patch. It's got brush and then a bunch of logs across the top, but it's not completely filled in with logs. So I'm going to delimb these and throw those in the hole, and then that will keep hopefully the soil from filtering down as easily. That's what I'm going to do today. Okay, so a lot of this is hemlock, which is all kind of twisty, but and I don't know if this is going to be enough to fill those holes, but I'm gonna put them in the wheelbarrow and give it a try. Okay, so I filled in gap and gap, but it's not really completely filled in. I wonder if that's good enough. One more stick, and I think I'm gonna call it good. So there's still like a big old hole down in here. You see that? But I think I'm just gonna fill it with soil. Or the solution could be to put some cardboard in there. My buckets have some water in them. I've got a pet caterpillar worm thing. You see him? Tyler suggested that I raise him up and see what he turned into. So we're gonna see if he turns into like a moth or a butterfly. Anyway, I gotta clean up all his poop. I'm not really into pets. So I got him some fresh food, cleaned up his cage. I don't know what he is. Does anybody know what he is? My caterpillar friend appears to have cocooned himself. My other little green worm appears to have, I don't know, he's not in here. I think he might have escaped through the air holes because he was that small. Because Variegated Farm had said that they were having problems with cutworms, I thought that maybe that's the caterpillar that I was seeing. And so I started looking at Oregon, Washington, Canada areas to see what kind of cutworms we have around here. And this one, the winter cutworm, also known as the large yellow underwing moth, you know, when it becomes a moth, looked kind of like what I was seeing. But they also showed a couple of other look-alike species. And let's see here. So this is the winter cutworm. It looks a little smoother than, and it's also got a red little head. The true armyworm has quite a significant stripe along there. I don't think that's it. I thought, oh man, this is really looking like what it is, this variegated cutworm. But the worm that I was seeing, or the caterpillar or whatever, does not seem to have those little yellow dorsal spots. So I was really thinking that it looked a lot like this spotted cutworm, especially because this is one of the only ones they're talking about that is prone to climb, and it is definitely climbing all over my kale. It was climbing all over the sugar snap peas. It does have the triangular black stripes. It does appear to have a wavy black line along its body, with the underside being kind of a, you know, kind of a cream color, I guess you could say. I wish I had gotten a better look at its head, because it's got those two little black lines, it appears. And it says it overwinters. Now, I don't know if it overwinters here in Southeast Alaska, but it doesn't get that cold. We're talking about like, 10 degrees Fahrenheit being kind of one of our lower numbers. So I also looked at a couple of other pages then for a spotted cutworm. Okay, so this is another site that I was looking at for the spotted cutworm, and I don't know, that looks an awful lot like what I was seeing out there. So I looked for more information on the spotted cutworm, and this says here the life cycle of spotted cutworm is similar to the variegated cutworm. So this is what I found for the variegated cutworm. So they talk about adults, the moths, emerging in late May and June and beginning to lay their eggs in clusters on the underside of leaves, and that's what I was seeing on the kale for sure. Eggs hatch in 4 to 7 days. Larvae begin feeding on plant foliage. They feed for 4 to 6 weeks, then pupate in the soil. That's that little orange deal that I saw happen with my little caterpillar. Adults emerge in late August and lay eggs that hatch into larvae that form the overwintering stage. There are 2 generations each year in the Northwest, and I'm not sure if I just have 1 or 2 here in Southeast Alaska. Let's see. Controlling. Larvae feed at night and hide during the day, so sampling should be done early in the morning. I did see them out at night, and not much. I'd see a few of them during the day out. No, that's about it. So I think I've got a good ID on this cutworm. I think it is probably the spotted cutworm. If not, it's something similar, and so would be handled in a similar way. I don't have an answer as far as like how to manage it yet, but I'll do another video on that later. My one thing I don't know is that those little green worm caterpillars, I don't know for sure if they were just cutworms in the early larva stage or if they were actually something different. I didn't see very many cocoons on the kale this year, so maybe those were just immature cutworms, but I wish that I had been able to keep those little green worm caterpillar things in those tubs so that I could have seen if they matured into a cutworm or if they, formed a cocoon and were something else. Because I might have a really bad problem of something else too. So anyway, at least I'm getting started on figuring out what this thing is. There he is. Can you see him? Oh, there he is, my little Junko friend. He was helping me with the little buggers in my sugar snap peas. That little Junko. Hey, buddy. Help me out, buddy.